We're looking for virality. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I think we're looking at Caitlyn Clark's ad being one of the more viral things we've seen in a long, long time. Like if you look at the Instagram post on Nike, as far as I'm aware, the Instagram post has like 30 million views.
Caitlyn Clark's latest Nike ad didn't just trend. It sent shockwaves that have her rivals quietly panicking. The spot exploded, pulling 30 million Instagram views in just 2 days, cementing it as one of Nike's most viral moments ever. Around the WNBA, players are watching this unfold and feeling the distance between them and Clark stretch even farther. What this moment exposes about the current state of women's basketball feels uncomfortably brutal.
And the fact is that this is only in 2 days. It is the 27th. The reality is that you could be looking at upwards of 40, 50 million views on this post.
Have you ever watched someone in your field rise so fast that it made you quietly question where you stand? Comment below, because that's exactly what's happening right now as WNBA players watch Caitlyn Clark's Nike campaign completely take over social media in ways they've never seen before.
So, since Caitlyn Clark's very first reveal, 22.4 million views. Between the Caitlyn Clark logo reveal and this Caitlyn Clark video, the only Instagram videos from Nike that have more views is a
So Caitlyn Clark's Nike ad didn't just go viral. It crossed into rare air as one of the most explosive sports marketing moments we've seen in years. And if you're another WNBA player watching this unfold, there's no way it doesn't hit a nerve. Nike's official Instagram post cleared over 30 million views in just 2 days. 30 million. That's not typical. That's not normal athlete endorsement territory. That's full-blown cultural moment status. Now put that number into perspective because it changes everything. Since Caitlyn Clark's logo reveal, the only Nike Instagram videos to outpace it were a post celebrating the Dodgers and Shohei Ohtani winning a championship and another spotlighting the Brazilian women's soccer team that surged past 100 million views. That's the space Clark occupies right now. She isn't battling other WNBA players for attention. She's standing toe-to-toe with World Series champions and Olympic icons, and the distance between those worlds is staggering.
Hey, Caitlyn! Can you make it from there? Hey, Caitlyn, how about from here?
Come on, guys.
Yeah, she can't make it from there. No chance.
Caitlyn, conmigo, let.
You got it. I'm not even gonna ask.
Hey, Caitlyn, from here might be impressive. Am I right?
The ad has only been live for 2 days. 2 days. And it's already sitting at 30 million views on Instagram alone. Once you start counting everything else, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, every corner of the internet where it's spreading, you're realistically staring at close to 50 million total views across social media. That kind of explosion for a product launch almost never happens. Nike has delivered viral moments before, but this one feels different. This isn't just basketball fans watching. It's pulling in audiences who normally couldn't care less about the sport.
So right here.
From anywhere.
All right, well, looks like she can do it.
Here's what makes this especially brutal for Clark's rivals across the WNBA. Nike's Winning Isn't For Everyone campaign, a massive push built around multiple elite athletes, sits at just 15 million views. Clark's shoe announcement doubled that in even less time. Nike is placing more promotional force behind Caitlyn Clark's signature shoe than behind campaigns stacked with superstars from multiple sports. That alone says everything about where they see the real value. And this can't be brushed off as Nike simply doing what Nike does. Yes, they know how to chase virality, but they release non-stop content. Almost none of it touches 30 million views in 48 hours. The reason this ad is moving at this level is because Caitlyn Clark commands an audience other WNBA players simply don't. That's not opinion. That's measurable truth backed by engagement numbers. The harsh reality many WNBA players are confronting is this. Social media buzz doesn't always convert into real-world impact. There are hundreds of thousands of fans who claim to support different WNBA players online. They post about them nonstop. They defend them deep in comment sections. They run fan accounts devoted entirely to them. But when game time arrives, those fans aren't actually watching. The viewership numbers simply don't line up with all that online noise. Caitlyn Clark is the exception. Her social media presence turns directly into people watching games. When she's on the floor, ratings jump. When she's sidelined, they fall. The connection is impossible to ignore. The people who follow her online actually tune in to see her play basketball. That's the line between real fandom and performative fandom. And that gap is worth hundreds of millions of dollars to leagues and brands. Here's the part that has to sting if you're another WNBA player. Clark is the very player they claimed only drew attention because of hype and media coverage, not because of her basketball ability. She was supposed to be the overrated one, the player accused of favoritism, the one who allegedly didn't earn the spotlight she was given. And yet, she's the one whose fans actually tune in to watch basketball games. The players once labeled as the true stars boast social media followings that never turn into real eyes on the court. Team USA competed in half-empty arenas during the last Olympics. Half-empty. These were billed as the best players on the planet, wearing their country's colors on the biggest stage in sports, and fans still didn't show up. But when Caitlyn Clark lands on the roster for the next major international stage, those buildings won't have empty seats. People are already planning trips just to see her play. That's the difference. That's what real star power actually looks like. She was supposed to be the overrated one, the player accused of favoritism, the one who allegedly didn't earn the spotlight she was given. And yet, she's the one whose fans actually tune in to watch basketball games. The players once labeled as the true stars boast social media followings that never turn into real eyes on the court. Team USA competed in half-empty arenas during the last Olympics. Half-empty. These were billed as the best players on the planet, wearing their country's colors on the biggest stage in sports, and fans still didn't show up. But when Caitlyn Clark lands on the roster for the next major international stage, those buildings won't have empty seats. People are already planning trips just to see her play. That's the difference. That's what real star power actually looks like. The cultural relevance debate is fascinating too. Will Caitlyn Clark ever be more culturally dominant than she was in 2024? Probably not. That year was the height of her presence in the national conversation, when she seemed impossible to escape. But here's the part that really matters. Even if 2024 marked her absolute peak, her relevance right now still sits above anything any other women's basketball player has ever reached. She could fall far from that high point and still remain the biggest star in women's basketball by a wide margin. And that reality has to be unsettling for her rivals. They aren't chasing 2024 Caitlyn Clark. They're not competing with 2024 Caitlyn Clark. They're up against 2025 Caitlyn Clark, supposedly past her cultural peak, and she's still racking up 30 million views on a shoe ad in just 2 days. If this is what declining looks like, what hope do other players have of ever catching up? Nike's massive investment in Clark sends a clear message to the rest of the league. Right now, the brand needs Caitlyn Clark more than anything. They've been lagging behind competitors, and they've pinpointed Clark as the one player who can truly move the needle commercially. They're not pouring this level of investment into any other women's basketball players. Paige Bucher's got a logo that the internet immediately mocked as the trash can logo. The contrast between how Nike is backing Clark versus other WNBA stars is glaring and impossible to ignore. Other players watching this have to be asking themselves what they could possibly do differently. They're grinding every day, posting on social media, building personal brands, trying to connect with fans. Then Caitlyn Clark drops one commercial and nets more engagement in 48 hours than most achieve in an entire year. It's demoralizing. It makes you question if you'll ever reach that level of attention. The social media skills many WNBA players hone are supposed to be their edge over male athletes in similar positions. Women's sports stars often more active on Instagram and TikTok, more accessible to fans, willing to show personality and vulnerability online, but even that doesn't come close to matching what Clark commands. That's supposed to be what gives other players an edge and helps them grow followings. But Caitlyn Clark isn't even especially active on social media compared to her peers, and she's still crushing everyone in engagement. Her real advantage isn't online. It's on the court. People want to watch her play, and that interest naturally spills over into every piece of content connected to her. The fact that this ad has become one of the most viral sports marketing launches ever also cranks up the pressure for the actual shoe release in spring 2026. Nike has set expectations sky high. If the shoe doesn't perform commercially after this level of hype, it will be seen as a failure, even if it sells well by normal standards. But if it does succeed, if it sells out instantly and pulls in nine-figure revenue like some analysts predict, we could be staring at a complete shift in women's sports endorsements. Other WNBA players have signature shoes, some solid products that serve players well, but none have launched with this kind of cultural weight. None have campaigns featuring Travis Kelce, Jason Kelce, and Travis Scott. None have hit 30 million Instagram views in 2 days. The gap between Clark's launch and everyone else's is so vast that she's essentially in a tier by herself. And that has major implications for the economics of the WNBA. Clark accounted for 27% of the league's total economic impact in 2024, while playing just 13 games due to injury. One player created more than a quarter of the entire league's economic value despite missing significant time. That's unprecedented leverage. And now she's launching a signature shoe expected to generate nine-figure revenue. The wealth gap between Clark and the rest of the WNBA is about to widen dramatically. This fuels tension within the league. Players are meant to push for better collective bargaining agreements and salary increases for everyone. But when one player is raking in generational wealth from endorsements while others fight for raises of a few thousand, maintaining solidarity suddenly becomes a much tougher challenge. Clark's individual success is a triumph for her, but it also starkly exposes how far behind everyone else is when it comes to marketability and earning potential. The international angle adds another layer. Clark has plans to visit China to inspire young athletes, and Nike is clearly positioning her as a global ambassador for women's basketball, not just a domestic star. That's a level other WNBA players haven't reached. International recognition opens revenue streams and opportunities that simply don't exist if you're only known in the US. Clark is building a global brand while her rivals are still chasing national attention. What's probably most frustrating for other players is that Clark isn't even trying to outshine anyone else. She isn't scheming to steal the spotlight or undermine competitors. She's just playing basketball and taking endorsement deals. And the result is undeniable. She's lapping everyone in visibility and commercial success. It's not manufactured drama or calculated rivalry. It's the market responding to what it values. And the market has clearly decided Caitlyn Clark is worth more than any other women's basketball player by an enormous margin. The from anywhere messaging in the ad perfectly captures her appeal. It's not just about sinking long shots, it's the idea that you can come from a driveway in Iowa, a small market, outside the traditional basketball pipeline, and still reach the very top. That aspirational message hits in a way that generic "be great" or "work hard" messaging never does. Nike absolutely nailed the branding, and the shoes are going to sell like crazy. Comparing these view counts to other major Nike posts makes one thing clear. This isn't just performing well, it's an outlier. Most Nike content never hits numbers like this. Even posts featuring multiple superstars across different sports don't achieve this level of engagement this fast. This ad is punching far above the usual weight class of athletic endorsements, competing with major cultural moments. That's what happens when an athlete transcends their sport and becomes a true mainstream figure. The timing couldn't be sharper for Nike, and harsher for everyone else. The 2026 WNBA season will likely see Clark fully healthy and dominating again, and the shoe drops in spring 2026, right as the season kicks off. Nike will have maximum visibility during the period when interest in women's basketball peaks. Other players will be fighting for attention while the marketing landscape is completely dominated by Caitlyn Clark and her signature shoe launch. Good luck securing endorsements or sponsorships when all the oxygen is being consumed by Clark's rollout. Hitting 30 million Instagram views in just 2 days isn't just savvy marketing. It's proof of the massive and growing gap between her and every other WNBA player in marketability. Others can't compete with these numbers, and they're watching their own relevance shrink in real time.